Hello everyone, welcome to the Virtual Healthy Eating 101 class. My name is Laura Grams and I am a registered dietitian from the Edmonton Oliver Primary Care Network. If you are not familiar with PCNs, we are a team of healthcare providers that support doctors and their patients. You may be viewing this video today as you were referred from your family doctor for a specific health condition, such as high cholesterol, diabetes, or high blood pressure. Or you may have an interest in improving your eating habits. Or you may have simply found this link on our website and showed interest. Regardless, I am happy you are here today and hope you enjoy the class. Healthy Eating 101 is designed to be a foundational class on your nutrition journey. At the end of the class, I will be explaining the other resources we offer at the PCN if you feel you need more support. Before we begin, I want to thank you for taking a step to improve your health by watching this video today. This slide is an overview of the topics we will discuss today. We will spend the next hour or so discussing the basics of healthy eating. To get the most out of this class, I would recommend you eliminate distractions. Perhaps you close your email and silence your phone, so you can focus on your learning. Because it is a virtual class, I have brought along a friend, Andrea, who will be asking some of the most asked questions. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Laura.
So let's begin. Above this video, there is a healthy eating checklist. It is a PDF that you can complete. This is to be done before your class has started. If you have not completed this handout, please pause your video now and fill out this 10-question checklist. Now that you have completed the checklist, we will be going through the questions. You can follow along if you choose. Number 1 asks, on an average day, do you eat 4 or 5 times, including meals or snacks? Meals and snacks. So why it's important to eat throughout the day is that it can help manage our hunger, how much food we intake, and our blood sugars. Managing blood sugars is particularly important if we have diabetes or pre-diabetes. Managing hunger is important for all of us, including those who want to manage their weight. The research shows that eating 3 or less times, or 6 or more times in a day, is linked with a higher body weight. In terms of meals, we will be talking about a balanced meal and what that looks like in a couple slides. In terms of snacks, we want to think about snacks that have protein and fiber in them. An example would be peanut butter and an apple, or Greek yogurt and berries, or hummus and vegetables, or some air pop popcorn and an ounce of nuts. A common snack I hear of is white rice crackers. Unfortunately, this snack is lacking both fiber and protein, so won't keep you full for long. Our goal is to feel full from our meals and snacks, so we don't reach for food every 30 minutes. If you need more snack ideas, I have a handout I'll show you how to access at the end that gives you a list of snacks.
Laura, how do I know if I should snack between meals?
What a great question. So that really does depend on a variety of factors. So perhaps your age, what you do for work, how active you are at work or exercise. But it is important to think about your hunger cues. And we'll talk about this a few times today. We want to be mindful. Is this true hunger or is this emotional hunger? Is it stress hunger and not really stomach hunger? So think about what you learned today and think about maximizing your meals, which we'll talk about balance further on today. And you may be able to understand if you need snacks. If you're still unsure, sitting down with a dietitian can help with that as well. Number 2, on an average day, do you eat breakfast? So eating breakfast can help improve our energy levels. Breakfast helps give us the nutrients, some nutrients we may not get at other times of the day. So often people get calcium in their breakfast because they have yogurt or a glass of milk. They may also get fiber because they have oatmeal or toast or cereal. Breakfast can help manage our hunger, and the research is quite fascinating on this. So it does show if we eat breakfast, we're less likely to overeat later in the day. So we're less likely to eat a large supper and snack in the evening. We all know the evening snacks we don't always make the best choices. Okay, tend to be higher calorie, quick, snacky foods. But having breakfast at the beginning of your day can help prevent evening snacking and really large portions at supper. Breakfast is also important to help manage our blood sugars and manage our weight, because in the end, it does help manage our hunger. If you're not a breakfast person, I do encourage you to start small, perhaps a piece of fruit in the morning. Work your way towards a bigger breakfast. Number 3, do you have 2 foods with fiber at each meal? So foods with fiber come from plants. So they include vegetables, fruits, whole grains, such as brown rice, quinoa, oats, barley, oatmeal, whole grain breads, whole grain pastas, high fiber cereals, and those plant-based proteins such as beans, peas, and lentils. I want you to think to yourself, what are the benefits of fiber? How come the question asks, do you have 2 foods with fiber at each meal? So there are 4 benefits of fiber. First, it helps you feel full longer. If you think of eating a slice of white bread versus a slice of whole grain bread, you're going to feel full longer after 1 slice of whole grain bread compared to 1 slice of white bread. You can think the same if you think of white pasta versus whole grain pasta. So foods that have fiber will keep you full longer and prevent you from overeating and having to snack as much between meals. Fiber helps promote healthy bowels, so helps keep you regular. Helps manage our blood sugars. Again, if we're pre-diabetic or have diabetes, managing blood sugars is very important, including vegetables, whole grains on our plate is important to keep the blood sugars from spiking. Fiber also helps manage cholesterol. Cholesterol is a fat in your blood that your doctor measures on a blood test. If you have high cholesterol, eating more fiber, so more of the plant-based foods, can help bind that cholesterol in your bloodstream and reduce your number. This reduces your risk for heart disease. So you can see there are many benefits of fiber for everyone, no matter who you are or what age you are. So if you're looking at a label and you want to look for foods with high fiber, my recommendation is to look at the fiber content. What you want to look for is that percentage to be above 15% or more of your daily value for fiber. That's how you know it's a high fiber food. I also want to remind you that not all foods have a label that include fiber. For instance, your fruits and vegetables are quite high in fiber, but they don't come with a nutrition label. So don't forget about them. An example of a nutrition facts comparison is on the slide. I have compared white bread versus whole grain bread. The white bread on the left-hand side and the whole grain bread on the right-hand side. So when we look at a label, we want to first look at the serving size to be sure we're comparing equal. So on the left-hand side, the white bread is for 2 slices of bread, and the right-hand side, the nutrition facts are for 1 slice of bread. So on the left-hand side, we want to divide everything by 2 to compare equally to the right-hand side. So when we look at the fiber, that's what we're talking about right now, go down the label all the way to the bottom. You will see fiber has an amount in grams and percentage. Again, we are wanting to look at percentage, and we are hoping to look for about 15% or more. This tells me there's 8% fiber in 2 slices of white bread. Hence, in 1 slice of bread, there is 4% of our daily value of fiber. Not quite enough to meet our 15% or more guideline. When I look at the whole grain bread, 1 slice has 20% fiber. That's going to keep me much more full after I eat the 1 slice of whole grain bread versus the 1 slice of white bread. This simple switch can make a big difference in your eating habits. Number 4, do your portions usually look like this plate? So the plate on the left is Canada's food guide that was released in January 2019. This is considered to be a balanced plate and helps us portion our foods. This is a healthy way of eating that helps us eat an optimal amount of nutrients such as vitamins and minerals so we can grow, stay healthy, and prevent and manage chronic disease. We will talk about this plate in depth. For that, you need the handout called Plate Method. You can find this handout above the video on the website, or you can follow along on the slide. So a plate method is something we talk about often in nutrition. Talk about a balanced plate. So we want to think about portioning our meals with half a plate vegetables, a quarter of our plate starches or whole grains, and a quarter of our plate with proteins. To start with that quarter of grains and starches, I want you to look there. So what fits in that part of the plate? You'll see bread, cereals, whole grain pastas, and starchy vegetables fit in the starch part. Starchy vegetables often surprise people. Corn, potatoes, squash, parsnips, and plantains are considered to be a starch. We don't count them as vegetables. We need to portion them in our starch category. When we're thinking about grains and starches, we want to focus on whole grains so we get optimal fiber and nutrients. Reading the label for fiber is important. Looking for starchy vegetables such as potatoes and leaving the peel on will also give you more fiber. In terms of portion size, we want to think about size of our fist. So if we're thinking of pasta or cereal or rice, it's about half a cup, half of a measuring cup, up to a cup maximum, but usually the recommendation is about half a cup. It may seem small to you, and that's why it is important to choose whole grains, high fiber, so you feel full with a smaller portion. Looking to the right, we can see protein. Protein is a quarter of our plate. And protein includes meat, fish, beans, lentils, chickpeas, nut butter, tofu, eggs, cheese, cottage cheese, and Greek yogurt. You can read the details on the slide, but we do focus on lean proteins, so lower fat cuts of meat, lean ground beef, skinless chicken. Fish is an emphasis. Fish is very healthy for our heart because it is made up of those heart-healthy omega-3 fats. The recommendation is to have fish twice a week, if possible. A serving of meat and fish is 3 ounces, or half a cup, if it's a ground meat. Next, we have legumes. So legumes are those beans, chickpeas, or lentils. These are plant-based proteins that come with lots of fiber and protein and are very low and have no fat. A serving of beans is 3/4 of a cup. Meat and alternatives, so that would include your nut butter. The portion size is 2 tablespoons. For eggs, a serving size would be considered to be 2 eggs. And those milk products also count as protein. So specifically cheese, cottage cheese, and Greek yogurt. For portion sizes, a portion of cheese is 1.5 ounces or 50 grams. Cottage cheese, 1 cup, and Greek yogurt would be 3/4 of a cup. When we think about Greek yogurt, I do encourage you to look for low sugar. So the plain Greek yogurt would be ideal, and adding fresh fruit or frozen fruit to sweeten it up would be a good choice. If you can't stand that, I would look for Greek yogurt with less than 8 grams of sugar per serving. Now, why is protein so important on our plate? Protein is important because it keeps us full, just like fiber. I often see people have large portions of protein at supper, but forget protein at breakfast. This plate model shows that it's important to have protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a portion size about the quarter of our plate. If we have too much protein at one time, we get excess calories. If we have too little protein or no protein, then we're often hungry within 30 to 60 minutes of finishing our meal. Think about your meals. Do you have protein? And what does your portion size look like compared to the serving sizes I described? The top is vegetables. That is half of our plate. We want to fill with vegetables. Vegetables can be fresh, they can be frozen, they can be cooked, they can be raw. I encourage a variety of vegetables so you don't get bored. A variety of colors makes your plate look pretty, but it also gives you a variety of vitamins and minerals. So the more color you eat, the healthier you're going to be. If vegetables seem boring to you or you don't know how to cook them, a dietitian can help you with new ideas, or you can search on Google. I encourage you to try roasting vegetables, be it in the oven or on the barbecue, as this caramelizes the sugars in the vegetables and it makes them taste so much better. You can try stir-frying vegetables on the stove, cutting up raw vegetables, or eating salads. Mixing vegetables into your dishes also works. So if you have a favorite stew or soup or lasagna, you can always cut up extra vegetables, shred vegetables, and put it in the existing dish to increase your fiber, vitamins, and minerals that you get in your food. In terms of vegetables, some people also like to change the temperatures. They like to have hot vegetables in winter and cold vegetables in summer. It's up to you. Try new vegetables in the grocery store so you don't get bored. The last part I want to talk about is the added fat part of our plate. For fats, we want to think about the healthy fats versus the unhealthy fats. So unhealthy fats would come from animal products such as butter, creams, chocolates, the fatty parts of meat. Whereas healthy fats would come from oils such as canola, olive, or avocado oil, our nuts and seeds, non-hydrogenated margarine, and avocados. Fat is important on our plate because it does help keep us full and it adds flavor to our food. We just have to watch our portion size. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I have two questions, Laura. So,
Okay,
my first question is about the ketogenic diet that everyone is talking about these days. The diet promotes high fat cream and butter as well as fatty meats. So, why do you advise against fatty meats such as sausages and bacon?
great question. So that has to do with the fat profile. So though fats in animal products is a saturated fat, so usually that's solid at room temperature. Those saturated fats are less good for our heart. So they actually increase our risk for heart disease by increasing our cholesterol, specifically our bad cholesterol. So we don't want that. We want to avoid that. And we want to choose healthy fats such as avocados or the fats from nuts, seeds, and healthy oils. Those are unsaturated fats, and those can even help increase our healthy cholesterol, and they're very good for our heart. So it comes down to the type of fat, and ketogenic diet often promotes the high saturated fat coming from bacon, sausages, creams, butters, and my concern long term is the impact on your cholesterol and your heart disease risk.
Okay, that's really good to know. So, my other question is about the amount of rice that I often eat. I think I eat about 2 to 3 cups of white rice with my meals. So, if I portion my plate like you say, I'm afraid I'll still be hungry. Do you have any suggestions for that?
Great question. I hear that often. So we tend to like pastas and rices and breads and fill our plate with that. If they're white in color, so the 2 to 3 cups of white rice, we do want to think about switching to whole grain. So for rice, it could be brown rice or wild rice because that has the fiber, which is going to keep you full and help you be full faster on a smaller portion. I would also suggest to make sure you have protein on your plate and fill your plate with vegetables, lots of vegetables. So does it fill half of your plate? And that's a good question to think about. Okay, so we're going to move on from this plate method. I do want to emphasize this is very important, and if you take away one thing from today's presentation is this balanced plate is really important to think about at your meals. Number 5, do you avoid drinks with calories? So drinks with calories are considered to be pop, iced tea, juice, smoothies, drinkable yogurts, flavored milk, slushes, alcohol, sports drinks, energy drinks, hot chocolate, flavored coffees, teas, and lattes. So these drinks have lots of calories with little or no nutrients. The calories from these drinks don't help you feel full. You can drink one of these and eat a full meal on top of that. So if we look at a nutrition label, we can actually see the calories and we can see the sugar. Okay, so sugar is something we can look at from these drinks because they tend to be very high in sugar. On the label, you'll see the sugar is written in grams, and most people don't know what that means. So to break it down for you, 4 grams of sugar is the same as 1 teaspoon, or the same as 1 sugar cube. So for example, this iced tea, 1 can of iced tea has 32 grams of sugar. That would be the same as 8 teaspoons of sugar. And I figured that out by doing a little math. So 32 divided by 4 told me there were 8 teaspoons of sugar in this can of iced tea. This is very similar to most pops and sodas. Another example would be an ice cap. So this ice cap has 47 grams of sugar. If you do the math, that's 11.75 teaspoons of sugar. Now, how much sugar should we eat in a day? Really, we don't need any added sugars in our day, so we want to keep them as low as possible. Our goal would be to limit added sugars from food and drink to less than 40 grams a day as an absolute maximum. Now, what's considered to be an added sugar? And added sugar would be white sugar, glucose, fructose, brown sugar, but also includes honey, maple syrup, coconut sugar, agave syrup. Those are all considered to be added sugars. The natural sugar you find in fruit or dairy products such as white milk or plain yogurt is not considered to be an added sugar. That is a natural sugar. So you don't need to count that within your 40 grams limit.
Laura, my morning coffee order is a large double-double. How much sugar is in that?
Oh, that's a great question. So a large double-double has 24 grams of sugar or 6 teaspoons. Do you have any ideas how you could, so that's a lot. That's 24 grams of your 40 grams for the day, and it's only the morning. Do you have any ideas of how you could improve that drink?
Oh, wow, that is a lot. I guess I could order a single sugar instead.
Yes, that could definitely help. Other suggestions would be to order a smaller size, so a small double-double, or add sweetener instead of sugar.
Okay.
So to clarify, for drinks, the best choices are water, plain coffee, or tea. Now, water can include sparkling water. You can infuse water with herbs or lemon or fruit. And then milk. So milk is important as well because it has calcium in it, which is important for building and maintaining our bone and teeth health. So 1 to 2 cups per day is recommended.
Is 100% fruit juice healthy?
Great question. So if it's 100% fruit juice, that's considered to be all natural sugars. So they haven't added any white sugar or glucose or fructose. However, it is concentrated sugars. And what I mean by that is to make a cup of apple juice, it takes about 5 apples. They squeeze 5 apples, and unfortunately, they squeeze the liquid, which is where the sugar is, and they throw away the fiber. So the fiber is what normally keeps you full. Do you think you could eat 5 apples in one sitting, Andrea?
No, I don't think so. I would definitely be full from that.
Exactly, and so that's the fiber from the apples that's keeping you full. Whereas the juice, there's no fiber, you're not gonna feel full. So the recommendation is to always eat the fruit instead of drinking juice.
Okay. So how much water should I be drinking every day?
Good question. For adults, the general recommendation is to drink 9 to 12 cups of fluids a day. This would include water and other beverages or soups. However, water should be your focus. Other factors may increase your fluid needs, such as your activity levels or the temperature outside. Hydration can be checked by monitoring the color of your urine. You want to look for it to be clear and the color of watered down lemonade. If it looks like apple juice, it's time to grab some more water. Okay, moving on. Number 6. In the past week, did you have sweets less than 2 times? So sweets are considered to be things you would think of like cakes, cookies, pies, pastries, granola bars, sugary breakfast cereal, chocolate, ice cream, but also includes things like syrup, honey, jam, Nutella, ketchup, and barbecue sauce. So some of those foods have hidden sugars because often people don't realize that ketchup has sugar or barbecue sauce has sugar. So read the labels and think about that tip I taught you, that 4 grams of sugar is the same as 1 teaspoon, and that can help guide your decisions. The sugar from these foods would be considered within your 40 grams of added sugar a day, and they can add up quickly. So keep reading the label. Eating too much sugar can be linked to chronic disease, so we want to make sure we keep our sugar intake low. It can also lead to increased cavities. In the past week, so number 7, Did you have ultra-processed foods less than 2 times? This is just a fancy word for processed foods that may come from a box or be stored in your freezer for a long time. They tend to be very white in color, have a lot of nutrients removed, and high in sodium and preservatives. So a lot of the processing has removed the vitamins, the minerals, and only left calories. There's lots of salt in them. Too much salt is hard on our kidneys and will lead to elevated blood pressure levels. If you have high blood pressure, reducing your sodium intake is important. In terms of looking at these canned goods, I encourage you to read a label. I encourage you to look for a label that says no salt added or 30% less sodium, as there are some healthy foods such as beans or lentils that come in cans. It can be an easy and convenient way to add more pulses, lentils, beans, chickpeas to what you're eating, but just look for ones that say no salt added. You can also read the ingredient list and look to see if there is no salt or no sodium. Same with soups, sauces, tomato sauces. Looking for less salt is a good thing. Number 8, did you eat out less than twice in the past week? So this would include eating out in a restaurant, picking up fast food, or ordering takeout food. As we know, restaurant food is made with more fat, sugar, and salt than home cooking. The plates in the restaurant are large. We get mini courses, we get wine, or we get drinks or dessert or appetizers, and so often the calorie intake can be quite high. And most people do finish what they're served in a restaurant, even though it tends to be a larger portion size than they would dish themselves at home. If you happen to eat out often, I do encourage you to think about that balanced plate model. So think about how can you choose foods that match that plate. So can I order a side of vegetables instead of having fries with my sandwich because I already have bread on my sandwich? That can really help if you think about that plate. Another example would be if you order food at a place such as Edo, Japan, you can ask for less rice and more vegetables, and they will respect that. You can ask for whole grain starches, so maybe they have brown rice, or maybe a breakfast diner has whole grain bread. As consumers, the more we request these healthy items, hopefully the sooner the restaurant industry will change and reflect this. So think about that balanced plate when you're ordering your next restaurant meal. Number 9, do you eat slowly and respond to your body's hunger and fullness signals? This is really important and often is overlooked. So it's important to set aside time and space for each meal. We tend to be a society where we are quite distracted. So we're watching TV, we're playing on our phone, we're driving, or we're working while we're eating. It is important to think about these habits. So where do you eat your meals? Who are you with? Are you taking the time to taste your food? Enjoy your food? Are you taking a lunch break? Those are important factors in impacting your health. Secondly, it's important to be mindful of how your stomach feels. Like I said earlier, we want to pay attention to, are we full or am I hungry? Am I thirsty or am I stressed? Some of us ignore our hunger cues and eat when we're not hungry. The research shows that by age 6, kids can overeat based on peer pressure. So we do want to think about going back to being as a young child when we're in tune with our eating and hunger signals and eat only when we're actually hungry. This is something that can be relearned. Thirdly, think about waiting to go back before seconds. So some of you may be fast eaters. I wanted to let you know that, first of all, think about how long does it take for our stomach to tell our brain that we're full? So the answer is about 20 minutes. It takes 20 minutes for our stomach to tell our brain that we're full. If we eat our meal so fast that we're done within 5 minutes, we'll go back for seconds and we'll often push ourselves into overfullness or feeling stuffed or sick. We want to prevent this. The hunger scale can help us with all of this. So you can see this hunger scale here is a range from 0 to 10. The goal is for you to stay within that green zone, so between a 3 and a 7 throughout your day. The left-hand side, 0 is when your stomach feels empty. 1 is where you feel ravenous, and 2 is where you feel overhungry. I don't know about you, but I tend to feel ravenous about 4 o'clock after work, and I'll get home and I'll look for anything in the cupboard I can find to eat quickly. The goal would be to change that and to actually grab a snack when we're about a 3. So when we're starting to feel some hunger. So that might be about 2:30, 3 o'clock in my afternoon. I might need to pack myself a snack for my drive home, my bus ride home, so then I don't get home being ravenous and eating enough snacks that I'm no longer hungry for supper. On the opposite end of the scale, we want to stop eating about a 6 or 7. So when we feel just satisfied with how much we've eaten or completely satisfied. If we stop eating by the time we feel full, we push ourselves to feeling stuffed or sick. Again, you want to be somewhere between a 3 and a 7. That's where you make the best healthy choices. Number 10, do you keep a record of everything you eat? Tracking your food intake can help increase the awareness of what you are eating. You can keep track on paper or use an app such as MyFitnessPal. For some people, this is a helpful habit. For some people, this is an unhelpful habit. So I do want you to think and reflect, would this be helpful for me, or would this just take too much time? If it takes too much time, I wouldn't encourage you to do it. But for some people, they really like this tool. So that's the end of the checklist. You can look at your questions 1 through 10 and look at your answers. Every time you answered yes, that is a healthy eating habit that you're already doing that will help improve your health and manage your weight. So you can be proud of that. Give yourself a pat on the back. Each no is just an opportunity for improvement. And often there are barriers that get in the way. Healthy eating is not that easy. So think about it now. What gets in the way of you or your family from eating healthy? Perhaps it is knowledge. Maybe this class gave you a few more tips. Perhaps it's skills, learning how to meal plan or how to cook. Perhaps it's support. Perhaps it's your busy life, your kids' life, your schedules, your 2 or 3 jobs. It could be finances. It could be mental health, such as depression, stress, anxiety, feeling like goals are unattainable. It could be that you live alone, or that you're fatigued and too tired to plan, shop, and cook. The list is endless. There are many more barriers that do get in the way. And I want you to think about what barriers exist in your life so we can help you. Our team at the PCN as dietitians can help you with a variety of these factors in relation to food. If you need help with other factors such as finances, we have a social worker you can access. If it's mental health, We have a great mental health team that can help you with that. I will show you at the end of this presentation how you can access all of these resources, but we are here to help. So before we finish, I want you to take a moment to set a goal. Okay, so your health will not change by increasing knowledge or by simply watching the presentation today. Your health will change when you start changing your habits after today. So that's where goals come in. You may have already thought of a goal you want to set. I have a goal sheet on page 2 of your healthy eating checklist. So the same PDF you used for the checklist, scroll down or look on the back, and page 2 is titled Making a Change. This is where I want you to reflect and think about a habit, a goal you can change. If you don't have any ideas, you could look on your healthy eating checklist. Every question you answered no to could be a potential goal. So the goal would be to change a no to a yes. In terms of setting goals, we do want to pick one. Often as humans, we tend to overachieve and we tend to want to set 5 goals at once. It's a good idea to think about one goal. We want to think about one area we want to improve and work towards that. Why that's important is because you want to be successful with that. And if we choose 5 goals, we're less likely to succeed. If we choose a small goal that's specific, measurable, attainable, rewarding, and timely, we're more likely to succeed. And when we succeed, we're more likely to set another goal. And that's what we're looking for here. We're looking to set small steps towards our big health goal. But it's going to take steps to get there, kind of like a stepping stone or climbing a ladder. So if you want to think about your SMART goals broken down with the letters S-M-A-R-T, answer the questions on your handout. So specific is the S. Ask yourself, how will you do it? And what will I do? M stands for measurable. How will you measure it? For instance, how many times a week? Attainable. Thinking on a scale from 0 to 100, how sure are you that you will achieve it? You want to be at least 70% sure you can do it. Rewarding, is this something you want to do? Don't set a goal that you don't like, you don't want to do. Set a goal that you're interested in, keen, and excited about. T, when will you start and how often will you do it? So an example of a good SMART goal is starting next week, I will pack a balanced lunch 4 out of 5 work days. Or starting tomorrow, I will include a source of protein in my breakfast to keep me full. You can pause the video now if you need to set a SMART goal. I will say, once you have set your SMART goal, tell a friend, a family member, someone you trust, someone that's supportive to you. Perhaps it's your physician, perhaps it's your dietitian, that you've set the goal so you can help achieve it. Being accountable is important, and telling other people often makes you more likely to do it. Andrea, do you have any questions at this point?
Yes, I do. I find that I often get overwhelmed with meal planning. Do you have any ideas to help with this?
Great question. So first of all, I will say at our primary care network, we do have a class specific to meal planning, as this is a common question and a common concern. I will show you how to sign up for that class. And that class is great because you come away with a week's worth of meals planned, you get new recipes and inspiration. So that can be really great. Sometimes it's just inspiration to get you going. Another thing with meal planning is break it down based on that plate. So break down your meals: vegetables, a starch that's whole grain or a starchy vegetable, and protein. So think of it in the 3 parts of the plate for your meals, and that might help you guide your meal planning. I do want to say that the meals don't necessarily need to be sectioned and quartered off and the food not touching other food. It could be a casserole, a stir fry, or a chili, or a soup that actually has the right balance. So within that chili, you have half of it being vegetables, a quarter of it being a protein, and a quarter of it being starch. It can be mixed all together, and hopefully just breaking it down into those sections really helps.
Okay. And are canned vegetables healthy?
Great question. Canned vegetables can be packed in sodium or sugar. So reading your label can be really important. I will say we also have a label reading class at the PCN. So if you want to learn more, that would be a great class to look for. Like I said, with the tomato sauces, the lentils, or the beans, when you're choosing canned vegetables, I would encourage you to look for ones that say no salt added, or packed in water, or when you flip over the label and look at the ingredient list, you don't need to see any sugar or salt. You really just want it to be the vegetables. And that's how you know it's a healthy canned vegetable. So they can be just as healthy, just be a little bit curious about what goes in them. And that takes some time with reading those labels in the grocery store. Great
Okay, thanks.
questions. Great questions. Okay, so to finish off, I am going to go through the supports we offer at the Primary Care Network in terms of nutrition. So you already took the Healthy Eating 101 class. That is what we did today, so great job. We offer 6 other healthy eating classes of the titles listed here. Below the video, I have a link to the class description and dates that we are offering these classes. If you're interested in signing up, you can sign up for all of these. They are free classes. The last one in there that's highlighted purple is Craving Change. Craving Change is a 4-week workshop that's 2 hours per week, and it is about emotional eating. If this is something you struggle with, like stress eating, boredom eating, this would be a great class for you. And in this class, we work to improve your relationship with food by exploring situations, thoughts, and emotions that affect your food choices. In the end, you will come away with strategies to help with emotional eating. If you'd like to sit down with a dietitian individually, we do allow that, and we love to sit down with you. Individual counseling does require a referral from a doctor, a part of the PCN, specifically the Edmonton Oliver PCN. If your doctor recommended this class to you, you probably already have a referral. And if you're not sure if your doctor is a part of the PCN, so if you found this online, you can use the directory link below and type in your doctor's name, and it will tell you which PCN your doctor belongs to.
That's great to know. I feel like my nutrition knowledge is pretty good. I just have difficulty with staying accountable. Can meeting with a registered dietitian help with this?
Certainly. The most challenging part with eating is changing our habits. And in the individual appointment, a dietitian will assess your current food intake and help support you to make small behavior changes. Today you set a goal in our class, and we can do this at every appointment together. Sitting down with the dietitian can help too, as sometimes we have new recipes, ideas, or inspiration that help you get started. We as dietitians love to talk about food, and often people walk away feeling inspired. There are other resources at our primary care network. We have a mental health team and a kinesiology team. They are exercise specialists, if you don't know what that big word means. Both of these teams offer individual appointments or group classes. If you're interested in these, our website does tell you more details. The website link is below. For the exercise team, they do have a MOVE program, which is a great walking group that you can be a part of. It's free and they meet at different locations across the city throughout the week. The group exercise classes are also great as we have a gym on site where you can exercise and use our equipment for free. Of course, exercise and taking care of your mental health is important on your lifestyle journey. So I encourage you to access these resources if you feel the need. There are other community classes, such as Alberta Health Services offers classes on a variety of topics. Below the video, I have included a link to the calendar of these classes listed on the slide here. Below the video, I have also included some handouts. You can click on the links and you'll download a PDF for a variety of handouts that support your learnings from today's class.